Well, after watching and reviewing Late Night with the Devil and making mention of my being a sucker for found footage and reflecting on that film of utilizing somewhat of that nature and employing what I think would be a great benefit to the pursuit of that is the faux documentary, which is more akin to what Late Night with the Devil is, even though I think the surrealism is the only way I can put it of how the ending is orchestrated, where you're seeing what the main character is seeing that isn't real. So how is that captured on film? That sort of thing. But anyway, it was suggested to me to check out the Hell House LLC a franchise. There are, as far as I know, 4 films in that. I don't know if the first one was done specifically for Shudder, but I think the others were all exclusive to Shudder, at least at first anyway. I'm sure probably could rent or buy them at Amazon and that sort of thing. But I've watched them all, almost nearly one after another. And there were aspects that I did like, some not so much. The first one is not bad. It's bad in some areas, but it's a good effort and attempt at this idea, and it goes from there. Now, the first one is basically this guy and his crew. They go around and they pick out properties to put on, basically, a spook house, haunted house entertainment type thing for Halloween and stuff, and they're making a business out of this. And they found this old hotel, which right off the bat, it doesn't look like much of a hotel. It's more of a house. It does have a bar and stuff like that, but it's the property they had. There's rooms, that people could stay in, but they just look like bedrooms in a house, or a guest room or what have you, but not a guest room in the sense of a hotel. But it's supposed to be really old and all this stuff. And there's there's a dark history and all that. But so the guys do this, they set it up, they're documenting it and filming it all, ostensibly as like an advertising vehicle. They want to do this just all over the place and make a thing out of it. For the purposes of they're making this a business. And so every October primarily will be, they have this sort of entertainment where people can go and get scared by all the props and whatnot that they set up in there. Well, of course, the place is really haunted. Terrible things ensue. There's a mysterious basement down below, and it appears to be a gateway to hell. Don't really get to that in this one. It is the narrative overall. But for maintaining the idea that that's what this was, and it's also structured with a documentary approach to this. So the footage, it becomes a part of this documentary on what happened to these guys who tried to do this. And you realize, none of them survived except supposedly this one character did, but not gonna spoil everything, but nevertheless, that's the deal. And then you actually meet the people doing the documentary, and they decide, let's go check this place out. And of course that doesn't go well, and that's pretty much how it ends, without spoiling a whole lot. There's a lot of seeming mannequins dressed up as clowns that they make use of, and that becomes one in particular becomes a recurring character, if you will, for the other films, and that sort of thing. And then as the story goes, they develop that, there's this history. There was a previous owner, and people suspected that he was in league with the devil, and of course he was. and all that. And that's the why there's this dark supernatural stuff going on within the building. So, all right, so they do another one. And the second one of the 4 films is easily the worst of the bunch. The acting is really bad. And they go through the paces and kind of do a similar thing as the first one as they're looking into this. And one of the characters was involved with the documentarians on the first film. So he's, trying to look into this to figure out what happened and so on and so forth. You do get to meet the original owner or his ghost or what have you, and that sort of thing. And but it's really bad. It's just poorly executed, and the performances just weren't ready to do this. I mean, it's not like it's known stars or anything like that. I don't know what experience the actors in the previous film had. They just did a better job and were more believable for what it was, that these were a group of friends putting together this haunted house, event and all that. So it worked on that. The second group, no, really didn't. So then there's a third film. So this one is much better. The cast are much capable. Once again, it is a documentary on, something happened. Once again, why do people keep going to this building? This time, there's this mysterious multimillionaire or billionaire, I think, who wants to put on this performance of Faust. With it, of course, and akin to a haunted house entertainment vehicle where people go in, but they're witnessing the scenes of the play and all that. So they got actors in there, and there's this girl who's documenting this. So it's her film and whatnot. And once again, all hell breaks loose, and the creepiness becomes all too real, and once again the original owner's ghost appears, and he's this creepy Joe Biden looking guy, and he's determined to drag everybody to hell that are stuck in the house. But it turns out there's something particular about the eccentric, mysterious billionaire who's apparently the hero of the story at the last minute for this. And then they do a callback to the first film where the ghosts of the victims of the first one appear, and you get something of a send-off for them. But as a result of this film, the house burns down. I mean, it's kind of in the poster for the movie. So you think, well, that's it. It's gone, and there's nothing more to do. Well, I guess there's a lot of interest in the franchise, so they decided to do a fourth film. So what would you do? It's called Origins Hell House, but the Carmichael story. Would have thought that they would have gone into the background of the original owner and do it in the past, but capturing the setting and stuff would cost money and stuff. So let's just get another house and do the skiers and stuff. So that's what happens. And through the narration of this, you've got this woman and her girlfriend, maybe going to be wife, what have you, and her one of them's brother, who's had some problems and whatnot, and so the sister's kind of wanting to watch over him and has asked him to join them on this. So they want to do like a ghost hunting bit with this house, and again, it's on par with the third one, and in some instances better, and others a little weak here and there. But overall, not too bad. It's certainly better than the second one. And this one delves into the history of the area. It's a totally different home. It's about this family where terrible things happened. And I can see them delving into that family should they do a fifth one. A little more, even though quite a bit is revealed in the story about what happened and why. Well, sort of why. But, there's another doorway to hell, so... and the clown shows up again, but there's a continuing thread there that they would, what else can we do with this to connect it and all that. And they could. So the previous hotel is mentioned, but now it's moved on to this other home, and that there's this history that leads to the origins of the whole thing, which is why it's in the title. I don't know if this will be more successful. Remember the X-Men? They did X-Men Origins, the Wolverine, and it was supposed to be a series of X-Men Origins where they were going to do a Cyclops movie. But really only Wolverine could sell one. Well, now Hell House Origins. So maybe this will work, because it certainly won't be as expensive to make. But, there's some good scares and a creep factor here, and others, well, not so much. But it's just what's bad about it just isn't bad enough to make me think, oh God, what a waste of time this was. So if you're a sucker for found footage like I am, then you'll probably do all right with this. You just got nothing better to do, check this one out. And each one, for the most part, can be seen unto themselves. The first three are all connected, and they refer to it. So you're gonna, even if you watch them out of order, you're gonna go check it out. So okay, the fourth one is almost completely its own. So you can just watch that one should you prefer, and go with that. Although it is nods and setup to the overall lore and mythology that they're at least insinuating. I don't know if they fully thought it through or not, but certainly the elements are there. And hopefully, if it does continue and they look to improve, and hopefully don't repeat the mistakes of the second one, I don't know, they might have something along the way. And if they are able to spin a good yarn through the whole thing, that would be appreciated, obviously. But it's what I'm thinking of is like Paranormal Activity, which suggested a certain narrative to the story, and then suddenly changed it for whatever reason, I don't know. Everybody likes the third one really good, and it's a good film. It's good, but it doesn't present what was already established in the other two. And it's odd because there is a trailer to that film that seems to show that story, and for whatever reason I guess they decided not to do it and reshot it. It's odd, but these things happen. But in this one, the steps are there. This is 4 films in, and they've got this sort of narrative where the history of the story becomes more intriguing and interesting. It's just, to do something like that, you got to have the money to at least make the surroundings look like it's in the past. And that's going to cost a little more than just having some actors get some cameras and go film this in a house at night on a weekend, which I understand. And depending on what your narratives are, that works. But now that they've developed this story, it's really the only other story to tell. But I guess the next one will just be somebody, hey, what happened to those ladies and that guy? And they'll go into the Carmichael house and, oh no, we're being chased by demonic, clowns and cloaked figures and stuff. So, but you might get something out of that too. But, repetition, of course, becomes a bit much. Anyway, none of these I thought were on par with Late Night with the Devil. But in the utilization of found footage and the utilization of faux documentary in combination with it, for the most part, tended to kind of work more credibly. Whereas Late Night with the Devil, which is a far more sophisticated film in a lot of ways, that end bit where it becomes this dreamlike sequence said, well, that's more akin to a traditional filmmaking thing where you're basically the eye of God watching someone's life unfold on a screen. You know, that's usually how that works. But when it's found footage, it's supposed to be this event that was cobbled together from footage, and you try to figure out what the story is or something like that. If someone is hallucinating something, you may see them hallucinate it, but you're not going to see what the illusion was. So it doesn't really work that way. And they didn't really do any of that here. So I'll give them that, But anyway, there you go. That's the Hell House franchise from my humble perspective. And I'll keep my eye out to see if they do another one, and I'll check it out.